Paul Ryan went on the Gamblers Anonymous program. No, I'm sorry. It was the William Bennett show. I'm sorry. He went on the William Bennett show to continue not just his war on poverty, but really his war on poor people. And let me make the distinction there. The war on poverty implies that Paul Ryan has a better way to fight poverty, right?
That I do.
The war on people is the war on the poor or poor people is Paul Ryan's other really sort of main agenda that is embraced by the Republican Party. And that is to say that poverty exists because of the people who are poor. We have a segment of the population that has misguided values, that does things wrong, they're untalented, they don't want to get out of poverty, and then he takes the next step. And it's in fact our war on poverty, those policies, which actually enable those people. And what we should be doing to those people, is inflicting upon them a regime that even though they don't want to get out of poverty, it will make them want to. And here is how he says it when he's on the William Bennett show.
Okay. But I mean, a boy has to see a man working, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And so that's this tailspin or spiral that we're looking at in our communities. You know, your buddy Charles Murray or Bob Putnam over at Harvard, those guys have written books on this.
Pause it. You should know that Murray, his book basically said, I mean, I think fair to sum up, white people are smarter than black people. I mean...
And Putnam said our civic associations are falling apart because of changing nature of society. They're like completely different arguments in books.
Continue.
As he said, great books.
Which is, we have got this tailspin of culture in our inner cities in particular, of men not working, and just generations of men not even thinking about working or learning the value and the culture of work. And so there's
Pause it.
real...
Okay, so they're not even thinking about working. They don't value work. Right? That's why they're poor. Continue.
Culture problem here that has to be dealt with. Everybody's got to get involved. So this is what we talk about when we talk about civil society. If you're driving from the suburb, to the sports arena downtown by these blighted neighborhoods, you can't just say, I'm paying my taxes, government's going to fix that. You need to get involved. You need to get involved yourself, whether through a good mentor program or some religious charity, whatever it is, to make a difference. And that's how we help resuscitate our culture.
Now, the thing about Paul Ryan is he's not very bright. And so even when he was telling that made-up story about the kid with the sandwich, he seems to conflate a lot of things here. But on one hand, he's saying, look, we've got a culture in the inner city. And this is well-founded. Google Martin Gillen's, read his 1999, his 96 studies on people's relationship, perception of welfare, who's on welfare. Go back and read the literature on what happened to the perception of welfare from, let's say, the Great Depression, when people had no problem helping out that agrarian farmer white farmer who had come upon hard times. We can help that guy out. But in the 1960s, you start to see, both in the minds of black and white people for that matter, studies have shown, that welfare recipients are black. And they live in the inner city. So whether or not he's trying to activate the lizard brains of the right-wingers on race, he is, and he's also showing his own ignorance. And he's not talking about the poverty in West Virginia and the Appalachians. Or
There's a lizard in our brain, dude.
and- but the
I
point
did
here
not
is
read about that in Charles Murray's book, bro.
the point is though, he's got this mentality that it's culture, some group of people's culture that prevents them from taking themselves out of poverty because they don't even want to work. They didn't even think about working. And they happen to live in the inner city. And, the best way to reach them is probably through your church. We have to go in there and teach them. Unbelievable.